Think about all your friends.
What friends?
All your cousins, your friends, your family. In this case,
what cousins?
It doesn't. Okay, Rashawn. In this case, it's everybody around you. Everybody around you wants to go to the club, or everybody around you wants to go to the Travis Scott concert. Or everybody.
Okay, everybody just jump on Travis Scott now. Everybody just jump on him, bro.
Whatever.
Yep, just jump on him.
Everybody want to go. Everybody's going, Rashawn.
He's the lowest in the room.
LeBron is going. I'm going. Ashlyn going. Your Nana going.
No, I'm not going.
Your Papa going.
I'm not going.
Raven going. All these names on this board is going. Your uncle is going. Everybody's going. Everybody's going. Everybody's going. And Rashawn decides he doesn't want to go. He's gonna stay home.
Yeah,
I would too. I would too.
In this story, you going. You going today.
No, I'm with him.
Today you going.
No, they got cheeseburgers.
In my example.
I don't want no cheeseburger from the
But I got a cupcake.
Okay, in my.
I barely want some from Mr. Beast.
Oh, he made a taco bar now.
Who cares?
He made a taco bar now.
So Rashawn wants to go. He wants to stay at home. But everybody else is going. Everybody else going. That's Noah. Noah is everybody is acting up. Everybody is partying. Everybody is doing what they want to do. So God says, hey, I'm going to destroy it. But I just wanted you to know that Noah is in the minority, not the majority. So the majority, that means stop. So that means the majority of the people are going to be talking about Rashawn. I mean, and in my spiritual mind, and I forgot what the other word was. What did the person say the other day? Instead of saying their spiritual mind, they said something else. It was funny. But anyway, I would assume that everybody is making fun of Noah because they don't care. They saying Noah is weird. Noah is over there building this boat he been building for hundreds of years, talking about it's gonna rain, and it ain't never rained before. I'm only saying this so when you get in a situation like that, little young Noahs, little Rashawn Noah and LeBron Noah and Ashlyn Noah, when you get in a situation like that, where somebody is making fun of you because you don't want to participate in something, 9 times out of 10, you probably are doing the right thing. That's the point that I'm trying to make. If you feel in your heart that something ain't right and you shouldn't participate in it, then you probably should. And it may not be easy being the Noah, the only person who
obeys the Lord.
Obeys God. However, we know what the end is, right? No, what happened?
Oh yeah, they all died.
They all got destroyed.
So technically karma and whatnot, and L's and shots for them.
Yeah, but at the moment when you building this boat, everybody's gonna think you crazy. So sometimes it may be okay that everybody think you crazy. And that's a whole word for me because I know people think I'm crazy. Yeah, they do. They think everybody else's kids is going to school, but your kids ain't going to school.
I mean, why would you want to go to school?
Everybody else, why you can't be regular and let your kids go to school?
Only good school members I have is like 1 to 3 people, and elementary school wasn't that bad.
Yeah, but sometimes you may feel like the Noah in the situation. You may feel like, am I doing the right thing? Should I put my kids back in school? Should I? And you know what God told you. You know what God told you. That's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard when everybody's pressuring you. What is something that you feel like people want to pressure you to do that you feel like God didn't tell you to do that? Is there anything like that in your life? Is there anything like that in your life? And if not now, it will be. Okay, back to Noah and the flood. This was the account of Noah and his family Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and I could be saying this wrong, but we're going to call him Japheth. Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. So, in following Jesus, make sure you follow him all the way to the T in what he is telling you. He gave him the... Sit down, Ashley. Sit down. No, sit down. He told them the exact measurements to make the ark. So, Jesus will both tell you what to do, and he will be there to help you see it through. Period. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. Not some things, he wiping it clean. And I don't know nobody who has the power to do that.
Oh, nobody.
People try to pretend like they can send a bug through here. But even them numbers that they created on this situation that we got going on still can't destroy the whole earth. So I think I'm gonna trust in Jesus and not anything that man created, especially in a manner of fear. Because the only person I fear is God. The person who can wipe this whole thing away and save one person if he wants to. One person's family, to be clearer. He says, but I will establish my covenant with you. A covenant is what? A promise, a deal. I don't know if I'll call it a deal, but anyway, it's a promise. Thank you, an agreement. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons, and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. So how many people is that? Somebody tell me how many people is that? How many total people were on the ark?
Oh, man.
How many total people? How many total
8
human beings was on the ark? It was 8. It was 8.
Yay, man.
It was 8. Now, this is a little bit side note, but we are going to be, what I told y'all this morning, we're going to celebrate Tuesday, which is February 22nd, 2022, on a Tuesday. And we're going to be talking about Noah's Ark, which is the whole reason why we're in this book. But I just wanted to make mention that he saved Noah, sons, and their wife. So he saved both of them. If it's the son and the wife, the son and the wife, the son and the wife, and then Noah and his wife. Okay? But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you and be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and them. So, this ark, it sounded like the garden. He said take every food, every animal, everything that you need. And 2 of every kind, which is why we're going to talk about this story all the way up to Tuesday and do some type of activity on that day as well. I haven't came up with it yet, but it's coming. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Now here's the part. It's going into chapter 7 where the confusion was that I had with the 7, because I just seen it on here. The Lord then said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. So, God can bless us if we're not righteous, but what kind of blessings can he give to us if we are living righteous? I mean, it's beyond measure. It's beyond measure.
Did she just be lighter purple in that? Did she just be a lighter purple in that?
We talking about this. If that's going to be a distraction, then we're going to put it away. It should be put away anyway. The Lord then said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Can you color a little bit softer? I got a video going. I'm trying to read, and all I hear is thanks. Now, here's the part. It says, take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate. What does that mean, Rashawn? What is a clean and unclean animal? That's where I was last night when I said, oh, I got to read this. It says, take with you 7 pairs. Now, a pair is what, Ashton? What is a pair?
A pair is like a grand fruit.
No, not a pair like P-E-A-R. Not.
What?
I'm talking about pair like P-A-I-R.
Oh,
like if I tell
a pair of socks?
Yeah, what's a pair?
A pair is like when you have something the exact same thing and like they're together.
Yeah, it's 2 of something. So if I tell you get a pair of socks, I ain't say bring me 1 sock. I say bring me how many?
Well,
If I tell you to give me a pair of socks, am I asking you to bring me 1 sock or 2 socks?
1 sock. I mean 2 socks.
Well, why'd you say 1?
I accidentally said it.
Okay. Take with you, LeBron, tell me what this means. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal, a male and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send the rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. So we always talked about 2 of each animal. So apparently we only talking about the clean ones. Now I wonder what that means. So I need somebody to explain Genesis chapter 7 for me. It's clear. I read it last night. It says 7 pair Which
Seven
is how
pairs?
many? How many animals is 7
14?
pairs? 14. So 14 different animals. It's what it say right here. The Lord then said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal. Oh no, so 7 of the clean animals. And then 1 pair of unclean animals. Why we always talk about the unclean 1 pair? Interesting. And Noah did all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth. And Noah and his sons and his wife. So that talks about endurance in the Lord. Like making sure that you endure to the end. Because if you serve God for all this time, just give up on God, then that's a waste of time. You got to endure to the end. This man was 600 years old. Now, when he told him that at 12, or whatever age, I don't care, 300, then it's 300 more years before it actually came to pass. That's what I'm saying. So you have to really trust and believe in God. Not just on the surface, but down to the core. Huh?
I can't wait for 200 years.
Maybe it's finna explain to me. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth, and Noah and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds and of all creatures that move along the ground, male and female, came to Noah and entered the ark, as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days of flood, and after the 7 days, the flood waters came to the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heaven were opened, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On that very day, Noah and his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, together with his wife and the wives of his 3 sons, entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. That is a lot of animals. Is it not? Every kind. It says every kind that crawls. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kind, every creature that moves along the ground according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind. Everything with wings. Everything with wings. Everything. Pairs of all creatures that have breath of life in came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. For 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth, and as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increasingly gently on the earth, and increased gently. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth of more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished. It didn't have no choice. This is the greatest water, what do you call yourself? Water bending situation. He is the ultimate water bender, Ashland. I'm tripping. So he said the water went above the mountains, high above the mountains. Nothing on this earth will survive a situation like this. We talking about as soon as the water gets to you, you out of there, because it's not going down. Everything on dry land that had breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. People and humans and creatures that moved along the ground and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. But God remembered Noah and all. So it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Then it took another 100 days for it to go down. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and the livestock that were with him in the ark, and he sent a wind over the earth, and the waters receded. Now the springs of the deep and the floodgates of the heavens had been closed, and the rain had stopped falling from the sky. The water receded steadily from the earth. At the end of the 150 days, the water had gone down, and on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Ararat. A-R-A-R-A-T. A-R-A-R-A-T. The waters continued to recede until the 10th month, and on the first day of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains became visible. After 40 days, Noah opened a window he had made in the ark and set out a raven, and it kept flying back and forth until the water had dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see if the water had receded from the surface of the ground, but the dove couldn't find nowhere to perch because there was water all over the surface of the earth, so it returned to Noah in the ark. He reached out his hand and took the dove and brought it back to himself in the ark. He waited 7 more days and again sent out the dove from the ark. When the dove returned to him in the evening, there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. If you've never seen an olive plant, it is the most beautiful plant. I want one so bad. Then Noah knew that the water had receded from the earth. He waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again, but this time it did not return to him.
You couldn't look outside the boat. Just look at the water from down there.
He was on top of the mountain Ararat. I don't know. By the first day of the first month of Noah's 601st year, the water had dried up from the earth. Noah then removed the covering from the ark and saw that the surface of the ground was dry. By the 27th day of the 2nd month, the earth was completely dry. Then God said to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you, the birds and the animals and all the creatures that move along the ground, so they can multiply on the earth and be fruitful and increase in number on it." So Noah came out together with his sons and his wives and his sons' wives, all the animals and all the creatures that moved along the ground, all the birds, everything that moves on land, came out of the ark, one kind after another. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and taking some of all the clean animals and clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. The Lord smelled the pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, even though every inclination of the human heart is evil from childhood. And never again will I destroy all living creatures as I have done. As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease." Did you just hear his promise?
Yeah.
God's covenant with Noah. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth." So, what I'm getting from this is God has a plan. No matter what we think, when we talked about this before, you have a plan and God have a plan. He laughed at your plan. Somebody tell me how God could have destroyed the earth. There's a number of ways he could have did that. Did he have to go with a flood? And did he have to? He didn't have to do it that way, but that's the way he wanted to do it. So sometimes what we want and what God has already planned don't go together. So that's why we have to be close to God to know what his plan is. Because if Noah wasn't close to God, then it would not have happened that way. So Victoria can say, well, God, just kill all the bad people. You know what I'm saying? And just leave Noah. But don't do it in a flood just like, I don't know why I be saying stuff like, just take a bow and arrow and have them stand all in line.
Just snap. And
No.
Just turns into
I think you should get a bow and arrow and stand everybody in line. And everybody at 2 o'clock come for their execution.
It's kind of dirty and kind of scary.
Well, that's Victoria's way. That's not God's way. You feel what I'm saying? So don't get it in your walk with Christ. Don't get what you want and what God has for you mixed up. Hello?
Yeah.
Don't get them twisted. Make sure it's what God has for you. Because our ways, you push me first.
I know, but I want you
to our ways are not like God's, is what I'm trying. And I'm about to wrap this up. God's covenant with Noah. Then God blessed Noah and his sons, saying to them, be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth. So God wants the earth to be filled and full of jolly, and he wants that. But this product of his that is made in his image and not him. We know. He said every thought from childhood, evil, just evil. Lord, help us to not be evil. Lord, help us to be more like you. The fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on the birds in the sky, on every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea. They are given into your hands. Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything. That's beautiful. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to read it again since nobody said nothing.
Yes, it was beautiful, Mother.
It says, and on all the birds in the sky, and every creature that moves along the ground, and on all the fish in the sea, they are given into your hands. Given. Not you got to pay for it. It's given into your hands. That's beautiful.
Go.
Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything.
World bow down to
But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it.
Well, no, can't eat it raw.
And for your lifeblood, I will surely demand an accounting.
Why won't you eat it raw?
I will demand an accounting from every animal and from each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. Whosoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed.
Okay.
For in the image of God has God made mankind.
So whoever kills a human will die by a human?
Hey, it says whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed.
So it's just like if you kill somebody, then it's most likely you'll die to a person like you. And then they will die to
As for you. Sit down. What are you doing anyway? What are you doing? Sit down.
Stop, LeBron.
As for you, be fruitful and increase in number. As for you, be fruitful and increase in number. Multiply on the earth and increase upon it. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, the livestock, and all the wild animals, all those that came out of the ark with you, every living creature on earth. I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, this is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you. A covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds. I didn't even intend to go here with the rainbow. They done took God's rainbow and promised to us that he will never destroy the whole world again with flood waters and turned it into something else. That rainbow is special. Every time it rains, after it rains, when the sun comes out, you should be able to see a rainbow in the sky. I don't know nobody else who's doing this type of magnificent wonder. That's why I have to follow God. And when you can put a rainbow in the sky, holler at me.
Well, you can't use
when you can kill every creature on the earth, holler at me.
That's not a real rainbow, I guess. Technically, but you can put water in front of the sun. Like
I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and all living creatures of every kind. Never again will the waters become a flood to destroy all life. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. So God said to Noah, this is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and all life on the earth. Then it goes to talk about the sons of Noah, the table of nations, and the tower of Babel. And then it goes all the way down to Abraham, and we know that we are the descendants of Abraham. Just like it showed all the descendants in the beginning of this Bible, well, we way down the list, but that's how it works. Somebody else has some kids, then you have some kids, then they 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 have some kids. And the people who originally had them kids, they not here no more, but, you know, it just goes on and on and on and on. And that's what God wants. He said, he told them to be fruitful and multiply. He wants you to have a family, and he wants his magnificent creation to continue on the earth. He made the earth for us to enjoy. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These were the three sons of Noah, and from them came the people who were scattered over the whole earth. From them people came the people of the whole earth. And Noah is a descendant of of Adam, but he just destroyed everybody else. So, yes, Adam was the first one, but he died, and everybody else on the earth died too. But before he died, he had some kids who 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 came down to Noah. So Noah would still have Adam's blood in him. It's just Noah was now the only person on the earth with his children. Not Noah alone, but his children. Noah, a man of the soil, proceeded to plant a vineyard. We heard about the vineyard a second ago. Noah and his vineyard, and how he became drunk. When he drank some of its wine, he became drunk and lay uncovered inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father naked and told his two brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it across their shoulders. Then they walked in backward and covered their father's naked body. So they daddy is drunk, messed up in his vineyard, all laid out naked with no clothes on. So they said two of the sons came in backwards like this, because they didn't want to see their daddy naked. It's not their business. So they backed up like this. But they love their daddy. So they backed up and they threw a blanket on his naked drunk self. When Noah awoke from his wine and found out what his youngest son had done to him, he said, what did his son do?
You told him, right?
Yeah. When Noah awoke from his wine, and found out what his youngest son had done to him, he said, cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers. He also said, praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem, and may Canaan be a slave of Japheth. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. Noah lived a total of 950 years, then he died. I swear this is the last one, or not swear. This is chapter 10, Genesis chapter 10, the table of nations. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. So now it groups them into categories. The Japhethites, the Hamites, and the Canaanites. So that came from Noah's 3 sons through these 3 groups. And really it's just talking about their descendants. So the Japhites. The son of Japheth is Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer, then it says what they are, and the sons of Javan, it says who they are. From these maritime people spread out into their territories by their clans within their nation, each with its own language. So those 3 sons had their own clan, clique, group, spread out. They didn't stay close to each other, and they spoke their own language. Then the Hamites, the son of Ham, it says who they are: Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, it says who they are. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who became a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it says, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Uruk, Akkad, and Calnish. From that land, he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, all these places, which was a great city. Egypt, it says who he was the fathers of. And then it says Canaan was the father of Sidon, his firstborn, of the Hittites, and it says all these names. Later, the Canaanite clans scattered, and the borders of Canaan reached from Sidon toward, so as far as Gaza and toward whatever. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and languages in their territories and nations. The Semites were also born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber, and it goes on to tell who they are. The region where they live stretched from Mesha towards Safar in the eastern hill county. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages in the territories of nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons according to their lines of descent within their nations. From these, the nations spread out over the earth after the flood. It just wanted to tell you that. So let's pretend I'm Noah and you Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And after the flood, y'all get back with y'all wives and y'all start to spread out and y'all start to have kids in different areas.
I don't got no wife and I'm not.
Okay, Ashley. It's pretend. We gotta understand what pretend is. Okay, so, and they spread out. And let's say LeBron spreads out in the north part of the United States. Because you got your family now, LeBron, and all your kids and grandkids, and just like a whole bunch of y'all now, especially if you living to be 900 years old. You got a whole... Think about that.
I mean,
my grandmother is 80-something. And she probably got about 45. I'm just going to say 45 grandkids. So that's your own little clan right there. Grandkids and great-grandkids. And she only 80-something. So if you 900 years old, you got a lot of people. You have your own little clan. And that's how the earth grew full. It's basically what they were saying. From those 3 sons is how the earth grew full. Then it starts to talk about the Tower of Babel. So with all the earth getting full, what does that also mean? It's getting filled with what?
People.
Which is getting filled with what?
Sin?
Yeah.
Yay.
More people, more sin.
I can't do our eyebrows.
More people, more sin. But that's how the earth got full again. To the point where they went to the Tower of Babel. Because them the only people alive is each one of these people clan. So somebody in the clan.
What clan?
I'm just using that word. So somebody in the clan decided to build this tower. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, the earth got full again, and it got full with more people. And so at this point, I'm sure God is like, okay, so every time I put these people in here, they going to do this. And then he made another covenant, which was, I'm going to send my son to die for all of your sins. It comes to that because we are, without Jesus, we need to be wiped away from the earth, period. But the good thing is he sent his son down to take all of the sins so that we could be saved. So, that's a lot. That was 42 minutes talking. I did not mean to do that. Now we're about to go eat breakfast and start on the rest of homeschool. These little mailboxes things got y'all working there. Some problems that y'all missed that y'all need to correct in front of everybody. Like, stand up and correct them. This is yours, Rashawn, LeBron, Ashley, me, Ashley. No, me. Rashawn, LeBron, Ashley.
What's up, bro?
It is mad. I'm excited about it, too.
God, I hate that.
It's okay. We got more to do, but we got... Yeah, look. Big pile of mad. It's important.